yesterday I was watching a conversation between Kamal, that's actually the name of his channel, Kahmal, I think, and FD Signifier, a person who I believe is a critical race theorist. I think that's kind of his shtick. And they brushed over a lot of things during this conversation, but one of the things they were talking about was actually critical race theory, and surprisingly it was one of the most comprehensible conversations I've ever heard about this. It may have been either helped or hindered by the fact that Kamal might have been drunk, I think, during the conversation. But there was one thing that had kind of stuck out to me, and I think it's an area where perhaps like lay members of society and critical race theorists get their wires crossed. So there's a thing that they would essentially call intrapersonal racism, what would be kind of the colloquial definition of racism, when one person does a bad thing to another person because of their race. This can theoretically be done by anyone to anyone. But then there's another definition of racism that I think the critical race theorists use when they're talking about their theories, which would have more to do with an institution oppressing or discriminating against minorities. Now, for the record, I still don't agree with critical race theory, well, at least for the most part. But I like understanding people because it makes me less pissed at them when they do dumb stuff. So, I suppose, I think I've gone over this before in one of my videos, but I'm going to go over it again. If what the critical race theorists are saying is that, yes, democratic systems discriminate against minorities, then I can't necessarily disagree. By necessity, democratic systems do the most good for the most people. And if you are a person who has a niche interest or a niche necessity, those interests or necessities will not be as readily met. So that far, I guess I agree with them. But it feels like the only real solution to this is that the culture, given that we have a finite amount of resources and a finite amount of manpower, the only real solution is that the culture itself take up the slack. The only other solution I could think of is that they make the government progressively bigger and bigger, and they add more and more powers to it until it becomes kind of a self-contained mechanism, like a political juggernaut or something like that, which in my mind is kind of a dubious solution. Apart from that, it feels like critical race theory is an oversimplification of what actually goes into making people's lives suck. And I can't help but think that the critical race theorists are the type of people who would walk up to a child who is paralyzed from the waist down and say, "You need to check your privilege." Now, for the record, I don't know if they've ever actually done that, but it does feel like that's the type of thing they would do. It feels like they might have a little bit of a blind spot to issues that don't have to do with race. Anyways, thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, and leave a comment if you like.